Hey, what up there, YouTube? We're jumping into a lot of different world news, even some weather and climate news. Just a list of the different stories we're going to be covering in today's world news segment. We have a massive earthquake in Morocco. This guy named Daniel Khalif has been running around London after shooting somebody up or killing somebody. The crazy thing about it is that it's taken several days to capture the guy, but they finally got him. We got hurricane news. It's good news, though. Thank goodness. I wanted to show this clip out of Burning Man. That's just absolutely crazy. Of course, there was a lot of flooding in Burning Man, but the dust devils are totally nuts. So we're going to be taking a look at that. John Axel in the chat there was nice enough to contribute a little bit of extra news here. Just all the floods that are happening. Guess what? Climate change is real. We got some news out of Port-au-Prince. Haiti's capital city has been taken hostage by brutal gangs. India news, French and Niger news, and then China/Canada news. So there you and then sorry. Then on to demographic news here about in Canada, because it's really quite shocking what's happening in Canada. As predicted, the Conservatives are taking over with populism. They don't need policy because the failures of the neoliberals. We're going to be talking about Rishi Sunak real quick. Just a couple of the things that he's decided to spend his time on instead of doing the work of the people. Ryanair CEO hit with a cream cake by climate protesters. This is great, and I gotta say, he took it in stride. He handled it quite well. And then we also have some news, some frightening news out of Armenia. The Armenian army is moving towards the border with Azerbaijan. So we got some video and some info on that one. Yeah, free cake indeed. Are probably like American Greens. I mean, no, they're like American Democrats. Privatize everything, right? But pretend like we're this is all going to help the people. Welcome back, OG Lee and this motherfucker. All right, let's get to it, boys and goyles, theys and thems. Let me just resize my window here. Some good ass music. I'm enjoying the tunage. This is six extermination soul collectors. That's just the beat. Memphis 666 exclusive. All right, let's get into it, folks. We got massive earthquakes out of Morocco. Let's take a look.
Morocco killing hundreds of people, according to the country's interior
Jesus
ministry.
Christ.
A search is now underway
God
for
damn, it looks like utter chaos. Oh my God.
Damaged historic landmarks.
Just total fucking chaos. Welcome back, Leon. By the way, Leon also contributed to the Discord. Thank you for your contributions. Massive earthquakes out in Morocco, Leon.
205 منهم في حالة خطيرة.
So parts of the Medina are fine. Other parts, as you can see behind me, are not so fine. The older buildings that are less structurally sound
I don't know.
have suffered the most.
Maybe the street, not the best idea. Maybe get the fuck out of the street, maybe.
There are fears of aftershocks. We've had one aftershock so far. It happened about 10 minutes after the original earthquake of 4.9 magnitude. So we're trying to see what happens next. The city is just on alert right now. Everything's shut. All the businesses are shut, and people are just trying to figure out what to do next. There's no official guidance coming from anywhere that we've received. We don't know what to do next. Some people are starting to make their way into the Medina and see their shops. As you've seen, there's damage everywhere. Some people are opening their businesses and trying to get on with their day. Nobody knows if there's more aftershocks coming. A lot of people slept on the streets last night, so there is a lot of garbage around from people sleeping outside, not necessarily damage, because they felt it was safer outside than inside their homes.
Sure.
So at the moment, we're just really unclear about what to do next. Everyone's kind of wandering around and trying to figure out where they feel.
هاد شويه انا جالس في السطح جالس كنشم الهواء شويه حتى كنسمع ديك الزز توقيلا انا شي حاجه حدايا واحد الوقيته كنقول لا داكشي غادي وكيتجهد الوقيته كنسمع واحد الزنقه عندنا في الدار كدير زز شي مش طلع ماشي هو. واحد الوقيته كنسمع صداع، قلت لخوتي الزلزال هذا نزلوا بشويه. نزلنا هنا حتى كتشوف الناس كلشي مساكن، الناس كبار الناس صغار. اخوتي في الطوموبيل ديالهم هنا باركين، شي في الدار شي هنايا، شي بغى يبقى شي ما بغاش يبقى. وهذه هي سنة الحياة.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Do we have to go that's life and smile? Can we at least acknowledge how tragic it is? I don't want to tell people how to feel, but a little too nonchalant if you ask me, dude. Kind of a, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just get. Did he cause the earthquake?
بغى يبقى شي ما بغاش يبقى. وهذه هي سنة
Yeah,
الحياة.
okay, bud.
لانه الناس في المستعجلات وفي المستشفيات محتاجه لهذه القطره ديالكم. البارح في الليل رمينا النداء وقلنا بانه
Hey, all right, look at these
يعني خصنا
heroes.
نجيو نتبرعوا بالدم. اليوم الصباح كتشوفوا
Awesome job.
كنتفاجئوا بهذا الكم الهائل ديال المواطنين اللي كيجيو. هذا كيبشر بالخير، والحمد لله حنا مطمئنين. تنقول لك مطمئنين وتنأكد على مطمئنين على الحاله ديال المخزون ديال الدم في هذه الايام المقبله.
पूरा विश्व समुदाय मोरक्को के साथ है और हम उन्हें हर संभव सहायता पहुंचाने के लिए तैयार हैं।
Meine Damen und Herren, zunächst einmal möchte ich genauso wie alle anderen
Whoa, dude, what the hell happened to Olaf Schultz, man? I don't know. I don't know if the eye patch is the best look for a German leader. Call me crazy.
Teilnehmer hier das Mitgefühl mit all den Opfern des Erdbebens in Marokko ausdrücken. Es hat viele hier bewegt und umgetrieben. Wir sind alle dabei, Unterstützung zu organisieren. Deutschland hat auch schon das technische Hilfswerk mobilisiert und wir werden das Beste tun, um dazu beizutragen, denen zu helfen, denen geholfen werden kann.
No reason. He fell during running. He had a massive bruise on his eye. Ah, okay. Just a little extra footage here of the earthquake, just to see just how bad the devastation here is. It's really quite terrible, and this is, you know, also the result of you know, not having proper building codes and standards. You know, like the reason why, you know, similar sized earthquakes will happen in the United States, and it'll be like 1 death or 2 deaths. And the reason is, you know, regulations and laws that ensure that buildings are put up to code. I mean, for example, if you're an electrician, and you do work on someone's house, and then the house burns down, and then they do an investigation, they find out, well, it burned down because of bad wiring, you lose your license as an electrician. You lose your, you know, you lose your ability to get anything done. You know, all that time you spent training, you're done. So there's a big incentive to do at least the bare minimum that doesn't get people killed. When those regulations don't exist, or if they're easily flouted by bribes and other things, this is the result. Cheap concrete, you know, I guess in some of these cases, these buildings are like really, really old. Well, in that case, they need to be reinforced and modernized. We saw that happen quite a bit in San Francisco. I saw that quite a bit in San Francisco, I should say, where, you know, old ass buildings, like it was really cool actually, because I was working in this building once, and in the break room, one of the walls was like this old as fuck brick wall. And it was like everything else was kind of new and everything. But it was like, what the hell is this here for? It's like, oh, well, this wall is actually because this building was originally an original structure, historic structure. So they're not allowed to tear down this section of the building, this wall, and there's other parts of the building that were, you know, that were still the old brick. And what they did was they had to put this big metal bracework all around inside you know, so that in case there was, you know, so that the wall itself actually wasn't load bearing at all. This ancient wall was no longer holding any weight. So if there was an earthquake, the whole building wouldn't come down because of this 300-year-old wall, you know. So there's ways to do that properly, to have, you know, and I'm sure there's a lot of that. I don't know if there's earthquakes in London, maybe not actually, so there might not be any of that, but you know, if there's ways to brace and modernize old buildings so that you can have that old infrastructure, you know, keep the tourism coming in, but you can also make it safe for human beings. And of course, what's the reason? Why do we see that not happening? Corruption. It's motherfucking corruption. It's not rocket science, folks. You know, that's why dummies like me are in politics. Okay, where you think I'm a goddamn Mensa member? No, I don't think so. Okay, because this shit is real simple. It really is, actually. It's corruption. All right, so moving on. Quick update if you've been following UK politics here. Yeah, exactly, Leon. The suspect Daniel Khalif here has been running around. He killed some people. Some are, I guess they're saying it's terrorism. And you know, he's been the fascinating thing about this kid is that he's quite resourceful and that he's been escaping authorities up until now. So escaped terror suspect Daniel Khalif arrested in West London. So it of course had to come to an end, but it was interesting how well he was doing getting away.
Police is actually still ongoing.
But he didn't kill anyone, Al Rakabi? Actually, I don't know anything about this story. I've only just been following the headlines. So let's get some more info then.
I can tell you that he was arrested before 11 a.m. this morning in the Northolt area of West London. Police say that he was riding a push bike along the canal towpath when he was intercepted by a plainclothes officer. They say that he's cooperating fully with police. He's now being held in a police station in West London. They said too that they wanted to thank the public because it was actually a series of tip-offs in the early hours of this morning in Richmond that led them to focus their search on this area and eventually led them to him. And of course, one of the ironies of all of this is we're not very far from where he initially escaped from. It was an incredibly sophisticated escape, but despite that, he still didn't manage to get very far.
His prison break and the subsequent manhunt was something like a Hollywood film, even if leafy West London suburbs make for an unlikely set. There was the food lorry, the escape vehicle whose underside he clung to dressed as a chef, jumping off just before it was stopped by police. The public appeals, photos of his clothing, a £20,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. Heat-seeking scanners too and helicopters scouring this park in Richmond, with sightings in Kew and Chiswick overnight and into this morning. Daniel Khalif was arrested just before 11 a.m. The 21-year-old soldier had been awaiting trial here at HMP Wandsworth after being discharged from the army. His was a regiment involved in sensitive communications.
I see.
And he'd been charged with trying to...
This does reek of like an early 20-something kind of lashing out. Like, you know, he hasn't emotionally evolved from his teenage, you know, years yet. And he's like, oh, this will show him.
Pass information, it's believed, to Iran, as well as leaving Hope's bomb devices outside his military base. Alleged crimes that fall under the Official Secrets and Terrorism.
You are fucking with me, dude. You are fucking with me, bro. Fuck right off. You are fucking with me right now. This guy was discharged, huh? No shit.
Max. He told the court he would plead not guilty to all charges. The Prime Minister was interrupted at the G20 summit in Delhi to be told the news.
It's good news that we've recaptured the person concerned. As people already know, the Justice Secretary has initiated an inquiry into the circumstances of his escape, and that work will continue. But this is obviously very welcome news, and again, my thanks to the police, but also to the public for their help.
You know what it feels like? It feels like the media and the right-wing government really wants this to be a terror attack so that they could say that they thwarted a terror attack. I don't know, man. Does this guy look like a mastermind of political terror to you? Doesn't really strike me as fearful genius. It seems to me like this is a massive overreaction in an attempt to save a failing and terrible administration. I really need a W. I could really use a terror attack. I could really use a win on and defeating a terrorist attack right now. God, this guy, he looks like AI, doesn't he? Like the makeup and the lighting and everything's got to be just so, man. And he's doing nothing for you guys over there. I got a list. I got a list of his actual priorities, what he's actually accomplished when he's in the time that he's been there.
For their help.
Daniel Khalif went missing from HMP Wandsworth just after 7 a.m. on Wednesday, sparking an extensive manhunt. He was then spotted at this roundabout in Wandsworth.
Okay, so this guy isn't some kind of, because their media's like, the headlines I've been reading is making this guy out to be like Catch Me If You Can. He's over here like hiding and disguising and doing all kinds of crazy things. He's running around asking for directions. Holy shit, the media are trying to make this guy into fucking Osama bin Laden over here.
Walking away from the van. Presumably it was here that he jumped off. He was later spotted 6 miles away in Chiswick before his arrest.
That's it?
The focus for police.
Dude, I've been reading the headlines. It sounded to me like this guy was James Bond. I was expecting some real motherfucking news. What the fuck is this?
And government is now on how he escaped, with Labour criticising the Ministry of Justice's record on prisons.
Well, we've had 13 years of mismanagement of the criminal justice system by the Conservative Party, and the fact that this situation was even allowed to happen in the first place is a national embarrassment. And so the government does have to urgently get a grip, tell us whether the prison estate is secure.
Tonight, Daniel Khalif faces questioning in custody, with police desperate to find out.
Wow, what a difference. These two are the same people? Yeah, he's just making a funny face. I guess that's why. I don't know. He's a little bit of a cutie.
In custody, with police desperate.
Yeah, he seemed like this seems like it's a teenager. Yo, this is hard. Fuck this. I don't care. Whatever. Here's a bomb.
Find out exactly how he managed.
And Rishi Sunak is like taking advantage of this
escape. It's an escape, though, that raises questions not just about HMP Wandsworth, but the wider prison system too.
Okay. All right, boy, they needed this. Oh my God, a story that's not about Brexit or the economy or the EU. Go. All right, so a little update on the weather here. Simping over him the same way they did the Boston bomber. Well, okay. I'm okay with people simping over somebody that didn't kill anybody and that's just a fucking idiot. I'm fine with that. Okay, the Boston bomber who fucking killed people? Yeah, no, that's disgusting. Yeah. No, yeah, exactly what Ken was saying. So anyway, folks, moving on to more news here. Just a little bit of climate stuff here, actually. And I just discovered Mr. Weatherman over here on YouTube. Really cool fella. I think he does news for some news channel or something. I don't know. He clearly knows what he's talking about. He's a goddamn meteorologist. He's doing the whole thing. Right? It'd be really cool if he's like literally not doing it for a news channel and he's just literally doing the whole meteorologist thing, but just on doing his own channel. That would actually be really cool. And we might be seeing this guy more, because then I could just cut to the weather and it's this guy. How cool is that, right? But good news about this massive hurricane. Another one. Yeah, another one, right? Another one. But good news about this hurricane. Thankfully, it was initially looking like they weren't quite sure if it was going to be hitting the islands. But yeah, that's a good idea, Kim. But it looks like it's going to be missing the island. So let's get an update from Mr. Weatherman.
Thank you very much for joining me on this Saturday. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, watching Lee, and I want to get into what could develop behind it. There's another system that may try to develop, which is common for this time of year. Tomorrow is the peak of the hurricane season, So it's normal to be active, but I want to track everything for you best I can. All on track from overnight. With one exception, it has slowed. I talked a little bit about this yesterday. It is really going to slow down, almost stall out before it turns to the north. And when systems slow or stall out, I keep a very close eye on any changes because sometimes that could shift a few things depending on the fronts back to the west. We'll get into that. But you see the track, that has been very much locked in. The intensity, though, is down. When it comes to hurricane forecasting, track forecasting is a lot better than intensity forecasting. Trying to forecast the intensity of these things, and we've seen them over the last few years go from nothing to something in a hurry. It's tough. That is very difficult. Looking at the computer models as far as that track is concerned, all in very, very good and strong agreement. A few of the models were hinting a little bit more off to the west. Here's Puerto Rico, Turks and Caicos here.
This is cool. You get some like predictive models on where the hurricane might go.
Here's Bermuda, but overnight, again, everything has really gelled for almost that right-hand curve. You see that right there, almost a direct right-hand turn eventually, lifting up to the north, putting the core of the system off to the west of Bermuda later in the upcoming week, and I'll dive into that. And then down the road, anywhere from New England, northeastern United States, back to the Atlantic region of Canada, watching this very closely, again, for late week in the upcoming weekend, so about a week from now. Looking at the kind of current conditions, the environment, the atmosphere.
Well, those were models trying to predict different, you know, like if it does this, it might go in this direction. If it does that, it'll go in this direction. Looking back, Ford the Perfect. Randy, you can't smoke hash in the DMV.
What's going on? Where it is now, it is going to eventually lift up to the north into some cooler water. So even if this becomes a Category 4
it's
again...
Ricky. Ricky, you can't smoke hash at court. He fucking lights up his cigarettes. He's like, I don't know how to talk without swearing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Ford the Perfect's icon is Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. And if you haven't watched Trailer Park Boys, stop watching this show and watch the Trailer Park Boys immediately. Get on that shit immediately. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Weatherman, for that update. Good news about the hurricane. It looks like it's going to be missing people. It's not going to be hitting Florida, and especially not going to be hitting these smaller islands, Puerto Rico and all these other islands right here. Looks like we dodged a bullet this time, so that's some great news. No, go watch Trailer Park Boys. Oh, I have a message. Who is messaging me? Someone's messaging me on Twitter? Huh? Okay, it's something. Some bullshit. Check out, thank you, by the way, for posting this, Woke Patriot. Oh, that's you. Okay. Check it out. Dust Devils, not only was like all kinds of flooding and all other chaos, but look at the Dust Devils happening at Burning Man. It was chaos, man. Won't you take me to the disco? Come on, baby. Damn, dude. I'd go there. Well, you know, apparently they passed a rule in 2018 that banned some of the larger, like really annoying. The rich people would just come by and build a hotel. Basically, they just build a temporary hotel, and then because they have to tear it all down, so they just hire people to do that. And it was like, it was so lame. People didn't want to fuck with it. The Sam Squatch, Ricky. It's the Sam Squatch. Yeah, so apparently there was at least one death. Surprised there wasn't more, quite frankly. But yeah, there was one death. Hard to tell from what, you know. I mean, a lot of crazy shit goes down in Burning Man, I assure you. Last little bit of climate news. Over the last week, we've seen thank you once again, John Axel. You have another message on Twitter. Okay, thank you so much. All of a sudden, I'm popular on Twitter. Are you kidding me? This fucking website, I need to throw it in the trash. The only reason I'm still using this website because I'm too lazy to go somewhere else. Fucking, it's a trash heap. You know, somehow the political content is still squeaking its way through, but, you know, Elon is quick to ban, is quick to like right-wing Nazi shit, and I've seen some other stuff just straight up disappear, man. All right-wing stuff. Oh, it's just a coincidence. Anyway, folks, back to the weather here. Massive floods all over the place, folks. So let me just go down the list here. Greece. Damn. So we got Greece. Hong Kong. Yeah, big props to John Axel for this great Twitter thread. With all these clips. China. Homeboy cooking it up! Yo! Damn, dog. What's his social credit score? Come on, man. If that doesn't give you a couple extra points on the social credit score, what will? Woo! This motherfucker's saying, oh, we cooking it up. Oh, we're not closed. I don't see a close sign anywhere. Thank you very much. You need some noodles? Shit, dude, that is impressive. All right, over here in Spain. God damn. Where's the street vendor? now everything, like, if there's no street vendor, you know, you're just not doing it right. Where's the street vendor? God damn, though. That's like she's on the second story, and look, it's getting up to her. It's getting up to her damn ledge, dude. Over here in India, John Axel once again, great link, dude. This rules. I mean, this doesn't. These are tragedies, of course, but it's just like all this information collected. All it's very useful for a guy like me. Thank you. But yeah, wow, look, it's just nuts. All this happening all at the same time. Guys, climate change, it's a hoax. Scientists just want to make money. Didn't you know that? John Axel. They just want to make money. Scientists. So they're making it up. So this actually happens all the time. It's totally normal. You know, and what it isn't normal, how coal jobs are being removed from America. You know, like oh no, come on, save the doggy. Oh no, save the doggy from this totally normal thing that just happens all the time. My God, that's tragic. He could have died. Oh, that is tragic. He could have died, guys. Oh my God. Oh, poor puppy. Oh, that's terrible. Good thing it's a totally normal thing and nothing strange about all this weather stuff. So over here in Bulgaria, we're not done, folks. Bulgaria. Because this should be taken cautiously. It needs further research to ensure. You know, that's a great point, Davey. We could easily be looking at flood footage from a completely different time. That's a good point. It's a good thing that this isn't happening, though. Like, you know, like this isn't like a real problem. Istanbul. Holy shit. Garbage river. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know about these plastics, guys. What do you think? Do you think plastics are ruining the world? I think so. Good God, look at all that plastic. Jesus. Easily be from 10 years apart. True. I'm gonna go ahead and take it at face value. It's fine. The point that I'm trying to get across doesn't change. Over here in Morocco, where they had earthquakes and floods. Travelers experienced delays at Wuja Angad's airport are currently confronting an unforeseen obstacle during their prolonged wait, navigating through waterlogged conditions brought about by heavy rainfall in the region. Over there in Oman, yo, greetings from South Boston. It's your boy Lenny. Go Sox. Guys, climate change, scientists are just trying to get rich. Scientists are just trying to get rich. That's all the, you know, when every time I talk to scientists, they're like, yo, I joined this shit to get paid, son. I'm getting paid, dude. That's why I joined science. That's why I'm science, bro. I'm on that grind, son. Cha-ching. That's all I hear every time I do an experiment. Cha-ching. That's all the scientists I've ever talked to. They're money-hungry motherfuckers, dude. They'll lie to you. They'll tell you, like, you know, oh, this is what a molecule is. That motherfucker's just trying to get rich. Oh, you're telling me what gravity is. You're telling me how physics work. Oh, so that was in Mexico, by the way. Guatemala and Mexico. And this one's over here in the U.S. Oh, this Burning Man. That's funny. And this is Burning Man. Wow, that's really bad. That is actually legitimately bad. Yeah, exactly, Rebel. No, you're right. But no, you're actually wrong. It's actually not real. Climate change isn't real. Also, Taiwan, they threw in an extra one. Oh my God. Oh, sweet Jesus, dude. Oh my God, dude. Holy shit, fuck. Get the fuck over. Oh my fucking God, dude. Can I show this? Come on, dog. Get to the thing. Oh my God. What is the other guy doing? Yeah, I'll link the thread. It's from John Axel, but I mean, I doubt anyone has had any time to double check all that. Well, that's a fucking frightening video. I hope those individuals got out alive. There you go. Climate change isn't real. Scientists want to get fat paid. We should burn more oil. That's the solution, is to drill and burn for more oil. Cynically ignore all these glaring issues. That's the obvious solution. Okay, and if anyone tells you differently, then they're just trying to get paid too, because George Soros is handing out the money, folks. Right? All you need to do is deny climate, and the checks just roll in, dude. Or no, not deny climate, but agree with the climate scientists, right? About climate, right? Port-au-Prince, Haiti's capital, taken hostage by brutal gangs. This probably isn't real too. It's fake news, probably. Unless it helps a right-wing narrative, then it's totally true. And can you believe the liberals would let this happen?
Language the United Nations is now using as heavily armed gangs expand their control of the country. Haitian human rights groups say armed groups control at least 60% of the capital, Port-au-Prince, and the surrounding areas. They're also warning rape is increasingly being used as a weapon. Well, in the first...
Yeah, Lenny is 100% correct. Those cars that are caught in floods will often, be refurbished and resold. Yeah, make sure you check the Carfax and check the history before you buy your car.
First 6 months of this year, the UN has documented this: 934 killings in the capital, 680 kidnappings. Most of the victims were not directly involved in gangs. They were directly targeted by armed groups. The violence has escalated since the assassination of the country's sitting president, Jovenel Moïse. That was in July of 2021.
Yeah, Rebel Phoenix is correct with Carfax, but you know what? It's better than nothing. Try to do your due diligence at the very least, right?
And that's a crime for which no one has yet been put on trial in Haiti. Our senior international correspondent, Orla Guerin, sent this special report from the Haitian capital. I should warn you, her report contains some distressing material.
Oh, God, here we go.
This is gang territory in Port-au-Prince, almost as far as the eye can see. But it seems the world isn't looking. And the Haitian capital has become a gangster's paradise.
Tesla, yeah.
It's morning in a middle-class suburb. Minutes after a shootout, a show of force by the police. But usually it's the gangs who call the shots. There are over 100 armed groups in the city, instilling fear and silence.
Well, police are still searching the scene here. There's an AK-47 on the ground and some ammunition. There are also drops of blood. Now, this is an armoured car. Police say they were tracking it for about 2 weeks. They say it was being used by a kidnap gang. It's about 8 in the morning here, and morning and evening rush hours are peak time for the kidnappers.
There was a battle with police officers and the bad guys. One of them died. We got the vehicle, and this is one of the weapons. The bad guys in their hands.
Do they have many armored vehicles, the kidnappers?
I don't know. There are plenty. I'm sure there are plenty.
Nearby, the body of an alleged gang member. The police told us we stopped them today. Across town, Francois St. Clair has just been patched up at a trauma hospital run by Doctors Without Borders. He saw gunmen holding up 2 cars in front of his. When he tried to get away, he got a bullet in the arm.
Damn.
Have you ever thought that the violence is so bad here that you would like to leave Haiti?
Oh, 10,000 fois.
10,000 times, he tells me. I can't even call my mum to tell her what happened to me because she's getting older.
C'est mieux.
In the end, the way things are, it's better to leave if you can.
C'est bien.
Claudette is another recent victim of the gangs. She
Excellent,
was
Lenny.
hit by a stray bullet and lost
Thank you
her
for
leg.
following step 2.
I don't know how I'll manage, she says. I can't run and walk the way I used to. She worries she will never marry now.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Gang warfare often erupts here in broad daylight.
Dude.
Why not?
It's called cover. Hello? Cover? Anybody?
Gunmen are in league with corrupt politicians and have some police on the payroll.
Homie, it's called
That's
cover,
according
dude.
to human rights
Whoa.
campaigners who say the gangs of Port-au-Prince have no limits. There are many
Holy
here
shit.
with stories that are harrowing to tell
Yeah, Rebel, yeah.
and to hear, like this man. His neighborhood.
Trigger warning. This is hard to hear, folks. You can't handle this. Look away now.
Hood is controlled by a gang whose rivals came on a killing spree. For his safety, we are not naming the area or the armed group involved.
I was in the house and I was so scared, I was shaking. I didn't know what to do. They mostly kill young men. My wife took me and hid me under the bed and covered me with piles of clothes. And my nephew was hiding in the wardrobe.
Soon the gunmen were in his house. When his nephew ran from his hiding place, they chased him and killed him.
What hurts me the most is that when I was under the bed, I couldn't see, but I could hear the men raping my wife. They were raping her, and I was under the bed, and I could say nothing.
There are things you would never wish on anyone, he says. His wife is now pregnant, and they don't know if he is the father. He tells us Haiti has been erased from their hearts.
Wow.
Some police here are risking their lives, trying to make the streets safe.
Totally shocking.
But others have actually formed their own gang. And Haiti's weak and tainted government is accused of looking the other way as the crisis deepens. Orla Guerin, BBC News, Port-au-Prince.
Ooh. I mean, that's the kind of shit you'd read in like a Stephen King novel. You know? Something so horrific it turns a man into a, you know, something else, right? Oh boy, that's a tough one. Tragically, we do have to move on. I don't know what dwelling on that would do. I do think the West has a role to play here. I don't think ignoring Haiti and exploiting it when it's convenient is the best way to handle situations like Haiti. Obviously, I don't think military intervention is the right course, but I do think the West and the Western Alliance has a bigger part to play in Haiti and Africa and all these places. Like I said, that isn't just advantageous exploitation. You know, it's funny to me to see Joe Biden. I showed this yesterday, his campaign commercial talking about how we're helping Ukraine to save democracy. And, you know, I remember when this was happening in the Bush administration, we were all like, it's our job now to spread democracy across the world by force. Is that what we're doing? And seeing that commercial, it has, you know, and seeing the neoliberal left, the Democrats basically support that message. Not that Ukraine doesn't deserve all the help that it's getting, but it's this idea that that's the reason why we're doing it, is because we're spreading democracy. And it's not true at all. It's a fucking lie. Because there are places like Haiti, places in Africa where they could use some real democracy spreading, not at the barrel of a gun, but, you know, at the, you know, from a food bank, from a school. You know, there's a lot of things you can do to help a country that actually doesn't involve dropping bombs from a drone, Obama. So I guess that's what I have to say about it. I have lots more to say, but we do have to move on. Moving on over to India. India's prime minister invites the African Union to join the G20. This is kind of interesting. We're seeing India try to make some big boy moves, and we're also seeing this effort to legitimize. I think this is EWACS or AWACS. It's interesting to see how quickly this is trying to be legitimized and brought forward, while these guys are pretty goddamn corrupt. And they're in, you know, the entire region is experiencing coup after coup after coup, basically a rejection of neo-colonialism, as the far left would call it, but the rejection of the French colonial rule and the, you know, these 50-year, 60-year dynasties that have run some of these countries like Gabon, and people just being absolutely sick and tired of it. You've had your run of the place for decades, and our lives are pitiful. We don't even have running water, and they're, you know, Russia and Wagner are taking advantage of the situation, but it doesn't apparently, you know, from the research that we've done on the stream, it doesn't look like it's a you know, it's being pushed by Russia. It looks like it's being pushed by a motivation to get rid of these incredibly corrupt governments. So it's interesting to see world leaders, you know, trying to legitimize these guys, you know, these guys that aren't doing anything for their country. And it's like I'm saying, you know, it's like, well, if we can successfully exploit you, then we really don't care what the condition of your people actually are. We don't care if your people are living in poverty, as long as you're giving us access to your resources. 9 out of 13 for those flooded videos is likely accurate. All right. Good job, Davey. Thank you for doing the hard work there, verifying that, making sure I'm not spreading misinformation. I do appreciate that.
To what is happening in India, because Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is in New Delhi for the G20 summit this weekend, alongside leaders.
This is Canadian news. That's why it's like, why are they? I don't care about Justin. That's why it's brought up.
From around the world, including the world's most powerful economies, minus the presidents of China and Russia. Trudeau will spend most of the day sitting in session with other leaders.
You for the count, Zia.
Some he will meet on the sidelines, like UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and India's leader Narendra Modi has agreed to meet Trudeau in an informal conversation for 10 minutes tomorrow. So we will be watching for that. The Prime Minister's office has accused India of interfering in Canadian politics. Meanwhile, India's Prime Minister has announced a new G20 declaration on the language to describe the war in Ukraine. CBC News' Salima Shivji is in New Delhi with what we know so far.
Well, this was announced really quite suddenly by the G20 hosts here, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who basically said that he had good news to share, sort of breaking out of a session to share this news, saying there was good news and that a consensus had been reached and a joint declaration agreed upon. Of course, that is the goal of every G20 Leaders Summit, and it was looking rather unlikely going into this one that it would be easy to reach a consensus. So he did say that he had that good news, and he thanked his Sherpa, his negotiators, and his ministers for bringing about some sort of consensus. We don't have that many details as to the language that was chosen to describe the war in Ukraine, which is, of course, the major division between certain countries such as Russia and China, opposing stronger language, denouncing, obviously, the war in Ukraine. So we don't know what sort of language is been agreed upon for this joint declaration, whether it has been watered down, what sort of compromises have been made. But even the fact that there is some sort of consensus and a joint declaration was looking quite unlikely. So this news came as rather a surprise for many analysts looking into this Leaders Summit going into it, particularly that it came today on Saturday, not on the second day of the summit tomorrow. A lot of people were assuming that this would take a lot more negotiation. But the Indian officials behind the scenes were really working very hard to get to some sort of consensus, negotiating hard with a lot of their counterparts, and it appears to have paid off.
Salima, we know earlier the Prime Minister of India officially invited the African Union to
Jesus Christ, look at that chandelier.
Join the G20. What does this mean for the AU?
Yeah, it's a big deal for the African Union. Obviously, it means that they're at the table of the G20 grouping, of course, of the world's most powerful nations and largest economies. It also means that the African Union, a member bloc which has, a regional bloc that has 55 member states, has the same, status as the European Union, for example. Also,
okay, so this is different. The African Union is different.
A member of the G20. So it is a big deal in terms of bringing the voice and the issues of developing nations.
Hey, look, this could be good news. If, like I said, if this leads to more actual, real standards that they have to be held to, these African leaders, yeah, look, we're not going to help you or do this trade deal until 50,000 more of your, fucking 1 million more of your citizens have access to clean running water. Oh, that's really hard. Well, get on it then, buddy. You've had 50 years over there in Gabon.
Nations to the table. They can advocate for solutions for some of those issues. And it is also, was also one of the main priorities for India going into this G20 Leaders Summit as well. They are trying to position themselves as the voice for the global.
It's long since overdue that Africa, the African region, is treated with more respect and once again, like I said, hey, this could actually lead to, improving the lives of Africans, which I would love to see.
Global South and bringing those issues that affect developing nations to the table in terms of, for example, climate financing, debt relief. So this is another win for India in cementing their role as somebody who can really bring some sort of consensus and bring other voices and other issues to the table and making the G20 more inclusive and more representative.
Love it.
That is.
Hey, I love it. I love it. I mean, it's like, come on. I mean, let's not get it twisted. The motivations for these countries to get the African region, in there is exploitation. But, could lead to other things as well. I'm not trying to be totally cynical, but let's be real. The geopolitical reality is that countries don't act on something unless it's going to benefit them. So I'm glad that, the rest of the world, or at least the G20, sees a benefit in acknowledging the existence of Africa. Hey, that's great. Moving on to Niger and France. I wanted to show just a very quick video here, but the French military readies to strike Niger. So it's like they want to get this Bazoum character. He is the funniest fucking name ever. But yeah, they want to get this Bazoum guy back in charge. So we did a little digging into the Mr. Bazoum here. Totally corrupt. Family dynasty's been in charge for decades. Niger's, completely impoverished while this guy's living high on the hog. Does a fucking speech from a gold-tinted, palace. And he's like, someone's got to put me back in charge. I'm the rightful, stealing elections, faking election results. Is it any wonder? And so here we have France, because France is desperate to hold on to its colonial gains from centuries ago, because this is some legacy of their, supposed greatness. when what they should be doing, if they really wanted to show the world how great France is, how much they respected liberty, they would let Niger choose its own path, choose its own destiny. Because I highly doubt if the shoe was on the other foot, the people of France would be okay with Niger, colonizing your country centuries ago and then continuing to hold on to certain powers, right? In a desperate and pathetic attempt to hold on to your colonial gains, right? Let Niger be. So here we have the French military, getting involved here, trying to go after. I don't think the people, the military junta that took over in Niger, I don't think they're going to be any better. Just like every other democracy, we can't wait. We're going to do an election right away. Trust me, we're going to do an election. No. I know I said 14 months, but I actually meant 14 years. Then we'll do an election. Yeah, there was the typo, memos. Not my fault. Anyway, no, I'm president for life, by the way. That's how these military juntas go. Show me one. Show me one in Africa where the military did a coup, the presidential guard does a coup, and then 12 months later, 6 months later, there comes the election, right? They're very rare. I'm sure a couple of them have to have existed, but they're super rare because it's crazy corruption. It's crazy ass corruption and exploitation, and that's been the problem in a lot of these African countries, unfortunately. So let's jump into
French
it real
ambassador
quick.
of their diplomatic immunity and have ordered the police to expel them. They obviously can't go into the embassy, as that would be a major breach of international norms, too far even for them. But police in Niger are now searching all vehicles leaving the embassy. It really cannot be understated how absolutely ridiculous this is. With it widely believed that if they manage to get their hands on the ambassador, France isn't going to ask for them back. They're just going to bomb the country into oblivion. And isn't there already enough suffering without more stupid shit? All to stay in the loop. Niger has stripped the French.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Interesting. Is this how Zoomers want your news? Is this how I need to do it? I need to just literally every story, 15 seconds. Just rapid talking, with fucking subtitles right in the center of the screen. Is this how you guys do your news now? Oh, it's my fault for showing it. All right. So moving on here. Kind of a connection between Canada here and China. It's interesting because we're seeing India and China, or India and Canada, I'm sorry, and China and Canada. We're seeing some tension there because of, at the very least, there's clear, blatant evidence of the Chinese government working way too closely with the Trudeau government and having way too much of a say in the Canadian politics. And there's apparently been some allegations of the Indian government doing that as well. And really, it's all the Trudeau's fault. For the last 10 years, however long he's been in charge, it's been nothing but constant corruption. Chinese millionaires and billionaires coming here, buying up property left and right, buying businesses, and Indian rich people as well. It's been a smorgasbord. It's been nuts. I'm sorry, I love doing that, but it's been totally nuts. It really has been.
So, David, the moment of tension, I gather, is not over.
It certainly is not, Adrian. As we speak to you from the helicopter deck here on HMCS Ottawa, there is a Chinese destroyer over there and over there, flanking both sides of this Canadian frigate as it journeys through the East China Sea. China's Navy has grown increasingly assertive on the high seas, especially around Taiwan, but rarely do we get to see it like this.
This is Chinese warship 161. Keep a safe distance with me.
We have exclusive access on this Canadian Navy vessel as it's conducting exercises with the U.S. and Japanese navies when this Chinese warship appears. This is what China pushing back against other powers looks like. It brings a risk of collision and the opportunity to gaze at an adversary. Commander Sam Patchell.
This is bitch shit. We're supposed to be scared of the great China power when they're just like buzzing around us like like flies, really, like are we is the US Navy supposed to be afraid of the Chinese Navy?
Is the captain of this ship.
We're not even in the Taiwan Strait. We're not in contested waters, and there's a Chinese warship right there.
Yeah, no, because look, what China wants to do is it wants to keep building artificial islands. It just builds an island, just builds a whole landmass artificially, plants their flag on it, and says, "Oh, look, China has expanded its ownership of the ocean. Look, now it goes all the way from China to all the way to here now." They're doing it. It's like, look it up. China's building artificial islands and putting their flag down and saying, "Oh, we own this area now."
We're operating near the waters, their own waters, and we're just operating this open ocean. They're as curious about, I think, our behavior as we are of theirs.
This one encounter is an example of how China is seeking greater influence and control of the waters around its neighbors, sending what is now the world's largest navy further from its shores, sometimes dangerously so, like this at-sea close call in June, when a Chinese warship cut off an American naval vessel crossing the Taiwan Strait.
China is basically trying to exert the same types of controls that companies do over national waterways. And if they can't do that, to harass other people that are going through those areas and make it uncomfortable for people to exercise the right of free passage on the open ocean.
Unloaded, ready to fire.
It means Canada's Navy may not expect a fight, but it is prepared for one.
All three nations here believe in a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Just as the...
No, no, you don't. Everyone's free to use it under under the West's ownership. That, I mean, come on. I mean, like, they're
The U.S., Japan, and Canada line up their ships to take a picture. The Chinese warship is still there on the edge, parallel to their adversaries. Then, following the Canadians on their onward journey, a shadow on the seas.
As you said, David, there have been close calls before during previous missions, and I gather other encounters on this one.
Yeah, in fact, just in the past few days, Adrian, we have seen Chinese drones, Chinese fighter jets, all operating in the same vicinity, broad area as this ship. Now we see, this destroyer, Chinese destroyer, that actually was going the other way, pulled a U-turn in the ocean, is now mirroring all of our movements. Really a sign of something that is likely to continue on this 4-month deployment of HMCS Ottawa.
All right.
So you're a professional reporter. You know you're going to report from the field. You forget your microphone. You're over here with the goddamn Apple earbuds. You tell him, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is there a reason why the camera didn't pan left and right when he said he was being flanked by the Chinese battleships? This motherfucker set up his phone on a tripod. This is the money that CDC, is this the money that I'm paying? This is the CBC. Where's the professionalism, dude? What are you, PewDiePie? Okay. I'm just saying, man, this is a little embarrassing. It's called the South China Sea for a reason. I mean, this idea that a country can own a sea, that it owns these things. I guess we can't get that meta, I guess, to have a real discussion about it, but show a map. No, I mean, look, I don't know if I don't think what China is doing is correct, but I also don't think that the United States, like that guy says, oh, we just want everyone to use the ocean. We just want everyone to use the ocean freely. No, you don't. No, you don't. So I don't think anybody's telling the truth in this scenario here. The West isn't telling the truth about why it's patrolling those waters. So millennials. So leading into additional Canadian news, it's called the Atlantic Ocean, standing for Atlantis. There you go. A whole new world. Wait, is that Little Mermaid? That's Little Mermaid, isn't it? They're looking for pirates. Just once, some eccentric billionaire should just straight up build a pirate ship and a crew. It just cause havoc on the seven seas. Oh, that's Aladdin. Okay. So linking over to our Canadian news, I'm going to be doing more reporting on this, as more news comes down. But right now, it's frightening. Polls are showing millennials are now warming up to conservatives in Canada, not because of their policies, because the conservative policies are destroy our social safety net, destroy our healthcare system, privatize education, privatize everything. Cut, and privatize. That's basically the entire plan from Pierre Poilievre. And millennials, in their desperation, because look, a lot of people are not as savvy as you and I, fellow viewers, when it comes to politics, and they make decisions based off emotion. And they're like, well, Justin Trudeau is fucking up. He's failing. Let's see what the conservatives will do. It doesn't, their calculus is not nuanced enough to understand that the damage that conservatives do can last decades, could last their entire lifetime. If you allow the conservatives to cut certain social health care and other things, it could take decades to get them back. It's not just give and take. That it takes time to build, to pass legislation, to make, so like look at Brexit. You can't just undo Brexit, right? Oh, I didn't like Brexit. Let's vote in the new guys, and then they'll fix it. Keir Starmer has no plans to fix Brexit. He doesn't even talk about it, which is really quite amazing because he's over here criticizing the Tories' leadership on the economy while he's not mentioning Brexit, the cause of that economic malaise. Ooh, big word. So back to what I'm saying here, though, people aren't savvy. This is why neoliberals need to step up, and this is why we can't just go, oh, well, it's okay, they're trying their best. No, they're not. And their failure that leads to conservative leadership is their fault. It's their fault that we get fascism because the conservatives are telling us how they're going to fuck us, when they're going to fuck us, where they're going to fuck us. And now, oh no, they fucked us in the spot at the time and place that they said they were going to fuck us. I'm shocked. So we got a party telling us exactly what they're going to do to us. And then we have these neoliberals that are our only hope at stopping them. And they failed to do so. Who's to blame? Canadian millennials are twice as likely to vote for Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives than Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's governing Liberals. This is a massive problem. Millennials just a few years ago were all on the Trudeau train. According to new polling from Abacus Data, the new study of more than 2,000 adults published last Thursday also suggests the Liberals would fall from third-party status if an election was held today among Canadians' two youngest generation of voters. The Tories are polling at 40% amongst Canadian millennials. These are the Conservatives, I believe, ahead of the NDP at 24%. And yeah, I mean, the NDP, this is an opportunity for the NDP. And what are they doing? Flatlining. They're gaining no traction because they should be out in front saying, yeah, this is what happens with liberals. You should put real progressives in charge. And they're not because they're in some fucking coalition with the liberals. So you got NDP over here carrying water and protecting fucking Justin Trudeau. NDP at 24% and the Liberals at 21% among the younger Gen Z cohort. The Conservatives also hold a strong lead at 32%, 6 percentage points up over the NDP. These are Gen Z, young people. Up over the NDP and 8 percentage points ahead of the Liberals. That's a very complicated question, Al Rakabi. Quick explanation. Corruption. It's corruption. It's the neoliberals allowing real estate to go completely bananas. Motherfucking the housing minister that is in the NDP party owns real estate and is a landlord. Same thing with the liberals. Housing minister for the liberals in charge of housing policy is a motherfucking landlord. That's why. They don't want to fix it. There's not a problem to fix. And look, and there's a common sense reason why they don't fix it. People who own houses vote. People who don't own houses and bitch about not owning a house don't vote. That's just one reason. There's a million other compounding reasons, but it's like a perfect mixture of shit. It creates super shit. Anyway, that's what's happening in Canada. Conservatives are blowing up amongst the youth because of their desperation, because of the neoliberal. It's like it followed me over. It followed me over from the United States. The stink of U.S. politics. Got the Justin Trudeau liberals acting just like United States neoliberals, promising nothing, achieving very little, means testing everything. They're patting themselves on the back for a dental plan, and like only 14-year-olds and under a certain age bracket and all this. That ain't a real motherfucking dental plan. That ain't universal dental plan for everybody. That's dental plan for a couple, for the people who desperately need it, which is great, but that's not good enough. So that's what's happening over here in Canada. Good times, at least yeah. All right, real quick here. Wanted to show this video. So this is what Rishi Sunak has been up to. Mr. Hey, he's not so bad. Hey, he's not, he's doing an all right job. He's trying to fix everything. See what he's been doing.
We were saying there's a critical risk to life if this program is not funded.
This is Winchester College. It's one of the country's most prestigious private schools. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak was head boy here. Fees here are £46,000 per pupil per year. It has its own theatre and is currently developing a state-of-the-art sports complex.
Hamilton is Canada's Compton.
Including an indoor swimming pool and a high-end gymnasium. Last year, Sunak dipped into his family fortune, worth about £1 billion, and donated £100,000 to this school. And this is Claremont McKenna College in California. This is where Sunak's wife studied. Fees here are $86,000 a year. In 2018, the Sunaks donated $3 million to this American college so it could build a high-tech quantitative and computing laboratory. And this is Buckhurst Hill Community Primary School in Essex. It's currently closed because it was constructed using aerated concrete. Kids have been told to stay at home. As the scale of the concrete crisis became evident last year,
aerated concrete, I believe, is really fragile. It's cheaper, right? But it's really fragile, so you don't really want to build buildings with it.
The former head of the Department for Education says he told then-Chancellor Rishi Sunak there was an urgent need to rebuild 300 to 400 schools a year in England.
But the actual decision that the Chancellor took in 21 was to halve the size of the programme.
The Chancellor, of course, was at the time
Rishi Sunak.
Sunak gave funding for only 100, which he then halved to 50. As it is, just 4 schools have been completed under the government's school rebuilding programme started in 2021. Sunak found money for students to go to Winchester and Claremont College in California, but not for kids whose schools are literally falling down.
So there you go. I mean, if anyone really thought that the current Tory government had turned a new leaf or was performing better or learned their lessons from Brexit, here you go. How long? I mean, honestly, this next election that's going to get rid of the Tories can't come soon enough. How much more damage are these fucking idiots, these greedy sons of bitches, going to do? God damn, get them out of there. Get off the stage. You're pathetic. You cut it down to 50 and you only got 4 done? Come on. Speaking of assholes getting pies in the face, I didn't, but now I am. Rainier CEO hit with cream cakes by climate protesters. Rainier is one of, a company that does a bunch of polluting. A lot of greenwashing. He's doing some fucking stunt or something, and he gets fucking stunted on.
Welcome in Belgium. Stop the pollution of the place.
I gotta say though, takes it, props. I don't know about props, but he takes it in stride. You got to give him credit on that one. He's still spitting it out at people. Sorry.
No. We do a press conference after this now, and then first we're going to submit the petition to Miss von der Leyen. No. We're here to discuss the petition. I love cream cakes. We now have 1.5 million signatories have now signed.
And damn, dude just plows through. He just plows through, man. He's been media trained. He's been media trained really, really well. He's like, no, we're not doing the press conference right now. We're going to do that later when I clean up or whatever. But he's just plowing through. This is the thing that we're doing. I'm doing it.
Our petition calling on Ursula von der Leyen and the European Commission to take action to protect overflights.
Yeah, protect overflights. Yeah. Sure, buddy. Yeah, this guy's, and look, is there any better example of how much these fucking people don't care about you? You know what I mean? They're not bothered by you. They sleep like a baby hearing the sounds of your wails and lamentations. Oh, we need more money. Oh, my kids can't eat. My kids can't go to school. What? Suffering. Our economy's failing. Oh, no, the climate's exploding. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love cream cakes. They don't fucking care about you. So next time you hear a gaslighter being like, oh, no, we can't, what about the rich people? What about wealth creation? What about innovation? Remember Captain Cream Cakes over here. Doesn't give a flying fuck about you. Couldn't give a shit about if your kid goes to college or whatever. Just remember that. They're sleeping like babies. Sleeping like babies. Last little bit of world news today. The Armenian army is moving towards the border with Azerbaijan. The Azer army is conducting large military exercises, and the Armenians claim it could be a cover for planned military aggression. The situation is very tense in the Caucasus. So yeah, we could have a legitimate war happening right here, right now, folks. They're at the very least moving some troops. I guess the real sign is blood for me. I remember when the analysts were saying, okay, we knew, when Russia and Ukraine, they were like, we knew it was serious when we saw Russia starting to do massive blood drives, to get ready for the frontline combat that they were about to engage in, because blood spoils. You don't just, you're only going to collect a massive amount of that at that time if you're actually planning on using it. So I don't know if we're going to get that kind of information here. How much, how much artillery, how much, heavy stuff is being moved to this front line or to the border. I mean, the border with Azerbaijan here. But that is one thing to look out for. If we start seeing a huge blood drive, we might be in for a legitimate war here. I will be reporting more on this. I will be getting more details about the motivations, what the hell is actually happening here. Yeah. Too bad for the conscripts that Russia isn't really recovering people to use the blood on. And they're kicking people out, Sticks. They're like, oh yeah, you're not going back to the front line. So they kick them out even before their treatment is done. Kick them out of the hospital. Armenia is occupying large portions of Azerbaijan. Previously, Armenia had support from Russia, but now Russia is occupied. I wouldn't be surprised if Azerbaijan attacks Armenia. I see. So the only thing that's been holding this back is Russia's military power, and they're a little busy. So now is the time. To push back. And quite frankly, I'm quite surprised we haven't seen more of stuff like this. Moldova, right? Surprised we haven't seen kind of more movement in places like Moldova, where it's like, yeah, the time is now, boys. You know, Russia completely wrapped up. There's no way it could, you know, fully support these guys. And I could be starting another war when the first one's not going so well. I mean, don't sell Putin short, buddy. You know what I mean? You never know with this Putin guy. You never know with this Putin fella. Yeah, Moldova has basically no military. Yeah, so they don't have the kind of opportunity. Okay. Well, there you go, YouTube. Like I said, we're going to be doing more information on Armenia and Azerbaijan very soon. It looks like we're going to have no choice in that matter. So look forward to that. That's the end of my world news segment. So thank you so much. This has been the News Underground.